So for today's Windows on Wednesday, we have Windows 10. Oh, okay. It's not exactly retro, but what's this? Loading from a floppy? My machine definitely doesn't have a floppy drive. And now the Amiga Workbench, but how? This is Windows. We all saw it, right? It even has the Amiga cursor. But the Windows Task Manager also runs, so what's going on here? I mean, even individual windows look like Amiga Workbench drawers. And now even the Amiga clock? What's going on here? Okay, so this isn't some trickery, technically. Instead, this is a shell replacement for Windows called myWorkspace. It was developed by Sylvester72/Michael Hepp, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and can run as an app or even completely replace Explorer as the shell. Simple to install, just run the executable, leave the defaults, or to make your permanent shell, check Replace Explorer. It's pretty quick to install. And upon first launch, it hides a taskbar, or when you run it as an app, if you want it to completely replace the shell, just restart. And right now I'm just kind of poking around aimlessly, just trying to get a feel for everything. It is very Amiga Workbench-like. You know, not super familiar with the Amiga Workbench. I've messed around with it a few times, obviously. But I'm just kind of being a little clumsy here, just kind of getting a feel for everything. I'm also doing a voiceover over all of this because this is a screen capture of Windows 10 running in VMware. So it's kind of hard to try to time everything. I try to put some timestamps in for myself. So I'm just kind of blabbering. But yeah, poking around it, it's very Amiga-like. And like I said in the intro, it's got a cursor that's very similar to it as well. I mean, the menu bar at the top even shows the amount of available RAM, just like the Amiga Workbench does. And right-clicking it does also bring up menus, so you can run like commands, you know, which it's basically just tied to the Windows Run command. You can adjust Windows settings and just overall UI settings. You can view tasks, which are just running apps, which should also show up in the taskbar. And some of them will run myWorkspace native applications that mimic common Amiga apps, as we'll see. Here you have the music player, and it'll play most audio files, including Amiga mods and tracker files and things like that, but I don't have any to test, unfortunately, at the moment, so we can't really go over that. We also have the video player, which again would play a bunch of different types of video files. It just shows all files, so I don't know if it's actually going to be able to play Amiga specific video files, but I'm assuming it does. And then of course we have the famous Amiga clock with some modern flair added in for it. And of course the calculator, because you always have to have a calculator app. And if you poke around a little bit further, it also comes with some Amiga-inspired wallpaper that's built in. A bunch of different types here. We'll go through just a few of them. We won't go through all of them. I'm going to leave some of the surprises for you guys to explore if you decide to later on. Yeah, I kind of like this one here, you know, with the boing balls and everything. So there's also other various settings you can tweak, visuals and all of that, as well as setting some of the default applications, you know, such as the media player. This screen here allows you to adjust the startup sequence, so you can try to add your own images and make it even more Amiga-like if you wish. I don't have anything to swap out with at this time, and so I'm not going to mess around with that, but again, I'll leave it to you guys to poke around. And then of course we have the About screen with a basic demo, some very calming music, and copyright information. And here again is the run command. Again, it's just tied to the Windows run command, run Notepad, and it's going to open up Notepad. The other thing that will open up Notepad is creating a text file from the menu there. So deleting a file is very Amiga-like as well. You get a warning prompt. You can either delete it straight up or you can send it to the trash bin. You know, kind of up to you. There are some other options that I've tried to select, but I don't know if they're working or not. So and now I'm just kind of poking around a little bit more, messing around a little bit. I'm not sure if any of these functions actually work or not. I've tried turning some of them on. They don't seem to do anything. Again, though, like I said, I'm not super familiar with the Amiga Workbench. I'm not sure if these types of options are available on there or not, especially newer versions. So it's possible they're doing something and I just don't know what they do. But it's also possible that they haven't been implemented yet because this is in constant development. It's been going on, I think, for at least a couple of years now. So here I'm just trying to find some even just built-in images and windows here. I want to see if, yep, it looks like thumbnail previews do work. It takes a second for them to generate, but they do get generated. So that's very beneficial, so you don't have to sit there and open up individual images to see what they are. And here I'm going to relaunch the music player, and I'm going to test a WAV file on here. You know, one of the ones that comes with Windows, just to see if it works. And it does, so. And here I'm just gonna, you know, poke around with the taskbar a little bit. Looks like right-clicking does give you some taskbar options. Gives you access to all the applications that are typically found in the start menu. So you don't lose that functionality, fortunately. You don't have to sit there and remember to run the command and know what's that native applications executable. You can just do it right here from the taskbar, and you can also pin applications. And right now, let's go ahead and restart. We'll see if it can actually restart the machine, and if it does in fact actually set the default shell as myWorkspace when it comes back up. And it does, complete with startup sound. So, all right, that worked. This probably modifies the registry. There's a registry key that's, you know, tells Windows what the default shell should be, which is typically explorer.exe. In this case, it's probably just setting it to myWorkspace. And here's the Say application. It's just a text-to-speech app, and it's more than likely just using the native speech engine in Windows. In fact, yeah, it looks like it's right there. So
this is the Not Amiga Workbench running on Windows 10.
This is the Not Amiga Workbench running on Windows 10.
And I mean, yeah, that's basically it. It's the Amiga Workbench for Windows, or at least a close approximation. I think there's a version of it for Linux. I thought I saw some demo videos out there for it, but I haven't been able to find it, so it might just be worked on. Maybe it was just a quick test. Maybe it was running the Windows version using Wine or something like that. But who knows, maybe someday they can find a way to integrate WinUAE or FSUAE into this, so you can allow seamless running of Windows and Amiga apps simultaneously. And we'll just leave it with the Say application to close this video out.
Well, that's all for today's video. Have you tried myWorkspace at all? What were your experiences? What about the original Amiga Workbench? Leave some comments below. Otherwise, thanks all, I'll catch you later.